Hello and welcome to Starcraft Pulse, a weekly show dedicated to the development, evolution and hopefully expansion of the South African Starcraft 2 community. In this show I'll be covering a wide range of Starcraft related topics, from local and international Starcraft news to replays currently being used or abused. In the future you can expect a great many things from Starcraft Pulse, from weekly player spotlights to tournament and league updates and even a bit of general Blizzard related news, so please stay a while and listen. The world of Starcraft has been rather quiet over the past week, with most of the major international tournaments being cancelled due to the unstable Battle.net servers. The biggest news in the international Starcraft 2 scene is most probably the announcement by Blizzard that the first phase of the beta is in fact ending on the 31st of May or the 1st of June, with its planned return a couple of weeks later. This was followed by the recent string of upsets caused by the dreaded patch 13, released on Friday the 21st of May. The patch promised the long-awaited map publishing system and Facebook integration, but instead it came with a horde of problems and difficulties for anyone trying to play. See more about all of that in the links below or over at Midtown or Fourpooled. That's it for the international news. Let's check out what's been happening on the local scene. Local Starcraft 2 news hasn't been much more eventful. This past Sunday's King of the Hill style tournament, the Fist, had to be called off due to all the problems on the servers. All that this means is that the challengers will have to wait a couple of weeks before facing the reigning Fist, Dreamer. Fourpooled's Ultralisk was meant to start its last week of games on Monday, but that's also been slightly hindered due to the problems ailing Battle.net. Instead of completing the last week, it's been decided that the 4 players sitting on 6 points, Chase, Angry African, Kreeflever and Mouse, are set to face off against each other in playoffs, set to happen on Thursday night. As always, you can find the Fist and Ultralisk replays over at Midtown or just check the links below. The All Pew Pew No QQ Open Tournament has been in limbo for the past few days, but it seems like we will in fact be hosting it starting this Saturday at 4 PM, with the finals happening on Sunday at 8 PM. So if you signed up, you better keep your game face on, as this tournament may well be used to help decide the official Starcraft 2 South African seeding. So let's hope the servers are stable enough over the weekend. So that's it for this week's local news. Be sure to tune in next week as we're having our first player profile, and there's definitely going to be a lot of results from the tournaments in the coming week. The strategy we're going to be covering this week is the all-in Reaper harass as Terran. Usually one would expect a strat like this to be way too risky to use often, but in this replay the Terran player demonstrates that they can be amazingly effective and secure you a win in no time at all. The game we're going to be looking at is between 2 local players, Chase and Rubilak. They are Terran and Protoss respectively. So we have Chase as the orange Terran, spawning at the 12 o'clock position, and Rubilak as the blue Protoss at the 9 o'clock position. Now, right from the start of the game, you can see how Chase's strategy differs from the standard Terran opening. He doesn't send his first SCV to his mineral line as you'd expect. Instead, he has it waypointed to the middle of the map. Now, the reason you want your barracks here instead of in your base is because in this way you have all the spawn points covered and can get your Reapers to your opponent's base quickly. As soon as you have your barracks down, you want to get your refinery started in your base to assure that you'll have enough gas to build the tech lab on your barracks when it's completed. When the barracks is complete, you'd use that SCV to scout your opponent's base. Remember to get 3 SCVs on your refinery. It's important to keep your economy up and running and still build SCVs. With a strategy like this that depends so much on getting these Reapers out fast, You really need to watch your food count. When you get to 9 or 10, stop building SUVs and save that space for your Reapers. A very clever trick that Chase did here was lift his barracks up onto the ledge in the middle of Lost Temple, thereby protecting it from anything that Rubilak could possibly send this early in the game. Chase knows exactly where to scout as he saw which direction that probe came from. A strategy like this takes time to master, and you shouldn't be discouraged if you don't get it right the first time. We're just over 2 minutes into the game right now, and production on the first Reapers already started. As you can see, the Protoss player doesn't have much to defend with right now. When you get to about 10 food, you're going to want to put down your first supply depot, but don't let it hinder the production of your Reapers, as they should always be your first priority in this strategy. At this point in the game, your opponent's probably already going to have a stronger economy than you. You're going to want to maximize the damage you do with your Reapers. The easiest way to do that is to just keep moving and shooting, kiting their units around their base. You can really abuse the superior movement speed of the Reapers. Another thing that's worth mentioning is that it's probably going to be a lot easier to pick which units to attack if you have your health bars set to always on. Your second Reaper should be on its way already, and once that gets there, you should be able to do some serious damage to your opponent and his base. When you're playing against the Protoss and you can't go for their workers, try focus on the pylons, as cutting power to their buildings can be quite devastating early game. Now, as we can see, this game is pretty much over. With the amount of damage that the Reapers have done already, it'll be pretty much impossible for Rubilak to recover from this. Now, as the players exchange GGs, let's just have a look around the map and see where we can go from here. If Chase's Reaper harass in fact hadn't worked, he could have quite easily right now put down a factory with 175 minerals and 150 gas that he has, and continued his harass with Helions. Alternatively, he could have thrown down another racks or two and kept the early pressure on with Marines and Marauders. So if you can perfect a strategy like this, it'll be really useful for all those best of one games where you want to surprise your opponent and secure the win as fast as possible. So keep practicing, guys, and check back here next week for more strategies.
Now to wrap up the show with some general news from the world of Blizzard. Tickets to this year's BlizzCon gaming convention, being held on the 22nd and 23rd of October in California, will be going on sale worldwide on the 2nd of June, with the second block of tickets going on sale on the 5th of June. So if you had all planning on attending, remember those dates, because those tickets won't be available for long. The World of Warcraft Cataclysm closed beta is rumored to be starting soon, as it is already in friends and family testing. Everyone interested in that had better make sure their Battle.net accounts are opted in. For those of you already playing World of Warcraft, the Ruby Sanctum raid is currently being tested on the public test realm. You can hop on there and try it out anytime, either with a pre-made level 80 character or with one of your own. Blizzard is also currently testing their new remote auction house feature for the mobile armory. It's an interesting concept and worth checking out if you're interested. Links to all of that and more can be found below. That's it for this week. I hope everyone enjoyed the show and maybe even learned something useful from it. Starcraft Pulse will be airing weekly via the Tales of Lumen YouTube channel. I just want to say thank you to the South African Starcraft 2 players for supporting this idea and for supporting the people trying to get South Africa on the esports map. It's all greatly appreciated, and if you guys and girls have any questions or suggestions, please don't hesitate to comment. See you next week, and happy StarCrafting!